Hello, welcome to Light Inside Yoga. Today we are doing a therapeutic style practice for the lower back. So, as you're setting yourself up, you will need a blanket or larger bath towel and a strap or something like it. It could be a belt, the strap from your bathrobe, a tie. So, once you have your equipment, set yourself up and let's fold the blanket into a thin rectangle. Once you have the thin rectangle, you'll fold it in half one more time from the short edge to the short edge, so you get this little squared pad. And you can move that off to the side. We'll use it in a little bit. And you'll want your strap close by as well. And we will start the practice on the back in a posture called constructive rest pose. In constructive rest pose, you'll have your feet on the floor with your knees bent, and the feet are a little bit wide. And then you will knock your knees in onto each other, so one knee holds up the other. Place your hands on your body, one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And take the next few moments on your own to just arrive fully. Even though your body has landed here in your practice space, often we begin our practice with the mind fragmented or still attached to something we were just doing or plan to do after this. Take a few moments here on your own and just let your mind downshift and begin to feel into your physical body. You've probably heard that supporting the lower back requires core strength. And while that's true, yoga takes it from a different point of view. When we're typically out and about or standing in line at the grocery store, often our breath is shallow and the abdomen isn't really bracing the spine the way that we need it to in a practice like this. For the next few moments, we'll practice a traditional breathing pattern called yogic breath, and it enlists the support of the core to create this natural Spanx or back brace. It doesn't require any extra effort or flexing of the core. It does, however, require mindfulness. You'll need your mind to be clear and present so that you can focus on this breathing pattern that isn't always instinctive to us. Take a very generous inhale so you feel the lungs stretch and the front ribs expand. Lengthen your exhale a lot. And towards the end of the exhale is where the natural bracing effect of our core muscles become engaged. Breathe out much longer than you normally do. And what you're feeling for is a toning of the lower belly, a shrinking in, a sinking down, and a narrowing of your waistline. This happens at the end of every very deep exhale. Take a few more rounds like this, starting to explore this breathing pattern. Inhale deeply through your nose, filling and stretching the chest cavity. Very slowly exhaling, contracting the abdominal cavity. That natural toning of the belly that happens towards the end of your exhale is the natural bracing, corseting support of muscle energy that we use in yoga to help stabilize the spine and create strength and flexibility. You'll use this breath pattern throughout the rest of the practice. Let's add movement to that breathing practice. The next time that you exhale, when you feel the belly naturally toning, pull one knee in towards you. Take a deep breath in and let the knee move away from your belly. And as you exhale, squeeze it back in. Every time the knee comes in towards your chest, you exhale. Now start drawing big circles with your knee, stirring the thigh bone in its hip joint in both directions. This allows the inner lining of the hip to become more hydrated through the movement. After a few hip circles, release that foot to the floor with your exhale. Breathe deeply in on your back, and with your next exhale, pull the opposite knee in. Create that same pumping action with the leg so that as you exhale, the knee pulls in towards you, and as you inhale, it moves away. And then you'll start to rotate the hip inside its joint, big sweeping circles in both directions. As the hip feels more clear, you'll exhale to bring the foot back down to the floor. In this next sequence, it's important that you have the breath coordinated to the movement so you don't end up overextending or straining your lower back. Each time you lift the foot off the floor, it's an exhale. You can even delay the movement for one quick moment to make sure that the belly is engaged with your exhale before you lift the foot up off the floor. Pairing the lift with your exhale is how you get the natural bracing from your belly. On your next exhale, lift one foot off the floor, hinging the knee in towards your chest. Breathing in, place the foot down, and as you exhale, bring it back in. It's similar to the pumping action we just did, except you're not using your hands. It's a clean movement from the hip joint itself. Take one more repetition and then release the foot to the floor. Pause here for just a few moments to let that work integrate before you move on to the second side. Begin with your exhale. While these movements are quick, you don't want to swing from your joint. You're really leveraging the leg up through a muscular action that coordinates with your exhale. Every time you exhale, the knee comes in. Find your rhythm in this repetition and keep your mind focused on the breath. Try each side one more time. As you exhale, bring the first knee in and begin those repetitions again. Focus on coordinating the breath to your movement. Last two here. And gently bring the foot down with your exhale. Take a moment to let all of that settle and then move on to your second side. Creating support for the spine comes first from the breath and the awareness it takes to breathe in a particular way. Every physical movement will have either an inhale or an exhale that coordinates with it to ensure that your spine is always supported. Take two more here. And with your exhale, release the foot to the floor. Take a moment letting everything settle from that side. It's important that we don't get into the habit of rushing from one thing to the next. Take advantage of the practice right now of doing just one thing at a time. On your next inhale, let the arms fall open wide to the floor next to you. Keeping the feet on the floor. As you exhale, drop both knees to the same side. Breathing in, come through center, and as you exhale, drop both knees to the other side. Do this a few more times at your own pace, following your breath, allowing the front of the hip creases to lengthen as you drop the knees to one side. Take one more here, and then find your way back through center. Taking a full breath here on your back. Extend one leg straight out long in front of you and flex your foot, continuing to lengthen and open the front of the thigh crease. As you exhale, extend the straight leg up into the air 90 degrees. Make sure your lower back and hip don't come off the ground. That's a clear sign of overextending and swinging. You'll lower the leg as you exhale and lift as you inhale. Exhale, slowly lower the leg to hover, or if you need more support, let the leg come fully down before you lift it back up. If there's a lot of tension in the legs or stiffness in the spine, you can bend the knee, continuing to move from your hip joint, lifting and lowering with breath support the entire time. Make sure that your knee isn't wandering off to the left or right, but that it's moving straight in line with your shoulder. Take two more. And then release the foot to the floor, both knees bent. Take a moment to let the lower back settle. And then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Extend the leg straight. And as you exhale, lift it up towards 90 degrees with or without a slight bend to your knee. You'll continue moving from the hip joint. Every time the leg lifts off the ground, you exhale. Depending on what's going on in your lower back and spine, you might find that it's more supportive to lower the leg as you exhale and lift on your inhale. You can experiment with that on your own to see which feels better. Last two here. And then release the foot to the floor, taking a moment to settle both physically and mentally. Full breath in through the nose and exhale the effort out through the mouth. Now you'll need that folded blanket. Bring it right in between the thighs, between muscle, not between your knees. And this is important because it helps to turn on your lower core. Squeezing onto the blanket so it stays in place. Soles of the feet are resting on the floor, your arms are resting, and you're continuing that deep conscious breathing pattern. Every exhale sinks and narrows the belly. Full breath in so the chest inflates, rib cage widens. And as you exhale, the belly sinks, the waistline narrows, and you squeeze the blanket. Continue this for a few more rounds on your own, coordinating the squeeze between your thighs with your exhale. Continuing to squeeze the blanket. On your next exhale, press through your feet and lift your hips slightly off the floor. The butt will lift off the ground, the feet will stay in place. Don't worry about lifting very high off the floor. The important thing is that you're coordinating your exhale with the lift and the squeeze. Lower down carefully. And we'll try that again. Take a deep breath here on your back. Exhale, squeeze through the thighs, lift your hips. Breathe in deeply here. And as you exhale, lower back down, continuing to squeeze the blanket the whole time. Inhale on your back. Exhale, lift into bridge pose. Exhale to lower back down. Stay down for your inhale, refueling and re-energizing. exhale, squeeze the blanket, lift your hips. Stay for your inhale. And as you exhale, squeeze onto the blanket and lower back down. Try that one more time on your own. Now, once you land, grab that blanket pad, pressing into your feet. Lift your hips one more time as you exhale and slide the blanket across your lower back and the back of your buttocks. Then let the weight of your body sink down on top of it. This is called restorative bridge, and it's a nice way to gently decompress the lower spine and the muscles that tend to support it. Feel free to rest here for as long as you like. From here, we'll take a little bit of movement. Let the left knee fall open to the side, just like when you open the cover of a book. The right leg will remain in place. Begin to notice any sensations around the inner hip groin area, and the inner and outer edges of your knee. And if you find that there's strain, like pinpoint sensation, tugging, or pressure, you'll either want to bolster up the side of your leg, like with a big pillow or another rolled blanket, or don't let the leg fall out as much. Stay on this side for one more deep, complete breath in and out. Towards the end of the exhale, lift the knee back in and switch sides, letting the right knee fall open. Now your left foot is planted, helping to stabilize the left half of your pelvis, feeling around the inner right thigh and groin, the inner and outer edges of your knee, and taking more support if the body is asking for it. Remember to keep your breath slow and steady. Towards the end of this next exhale, bring the right knee back up, both feet on the floor, both knees bent. On your next exhale, lift your hips and slide the blanket out from beneath them. Lower down slowly as we prepare to work through the outer hip and deep glute muscles. Cross your right ankle to your left thigh. And as you exhale, let both knees fall over to the left. Breathe in, come back to center. And as you exhale, drop them again to the left side, creating this rocking or seesaw action. Moving in time with your breath, as if to carve out space in the tense area around the outer hip. You may be able to get your right footprint flat to the floor. It's okay if you aren't able to today or ever. If for today, getting the footprint flat to the floor feels like too much or too deep, take your folded blanket and cushion the bottom of the foot to fill in the gap between your body and the floor. Then you'll rest like this for a few moments. Remember to breathe slowly and deeply. And to help work through this area a little bit more, use your left hand to gently press the inner right knee away from your belly. You can do this with each breath. As you exhale, push, and as you inhale, release. Or if it feels good to just hold the knee open, there's benefit to doing that as well. Another option is to lay the arms out and let your head roll from side to side. Even though we're focusing around the lower back and hips, it's important that our practice remains holistic, working through the other areas of the body that also tend to overwork or just feel tight. On your next exhale, tilt back up to center. And keeping the ankle crossed to the thigh, reach forward. Hold the back of your left leg with both hands. The right hand has slipped in between the two legs. This posture is called eye of the needle. Make sure that you're not tilting over to the side. This is a clever way that the body cheats, going deep into tense areas. On this side, you want your left knee and right ankle lined up with your left shoulder. As it starts to feel better, you can squeeze the legs closer to your body. And on your next exhale, release. If you feel a little bit stiff through the right side, extend the right leg straight down and rotate it in and out a few times. Then we'll move on to side two. Cross your left ankle to your right thigh. And as you exhale, drop both knees off to the right, just like that, tilting back and forth in time with your breath, creating that rocking, carving action. Now we're targeting the outer left hip and the deep left glute and external rotator muscles. After a few repetitions, see if you can let the legs fall completely to the right side. And if there's a gap underneath your left footprint, fill it in with the blanket so the foot has something to rest on. If you feel like you could go a little bit farther on this side, you can gently press the left knee forward away from your belly, either with your hand or just the muscles of the legs themselves. Sometimes small repetitious movement feels good, and sometimes just one long hold feels better. Feel free to explore both to figure out what will best suit you for today. And remember, you can also rotate the head side to side, loosening out any stuck energy through the neck and shoulders as you continue to release any stuck tension around the left hip. Just a couple more moments here. Next, exhale, tilt the legs through center. And reaching forward, hold the back of your right leg with both hands, moving into eye of the needle pose on the second side. Feel free to always take any extra movements when we're holding these postures for longer. Sometimes an ankle roll or a shoulder roll can feel really good and nourishing. And it's also a nice way of making your practice your own. Take a moment to check your alignment. You want your right knee lined up to your right shoulder. And as this stretch starts to feel better, you can always pull the knees in closer. And if this is a really tough area of the body for you to work through, you might even take a break for 1 or 2 seconds before coming back into it. As you exhale, release both feet to the floor and feel free to extend the left leg, letting it rock in and out. You'll want your strap next. From here, take your strap and loop it around your right foot. To avoid creating stress in the upper back and shoulders, slide your hands down the strap away from the foot towards the floor. This way your elbows and the back of your upper arms rest next to your sides. As you exhale, pull the leg closer to your body. As you inhale, let it move forward away from you. And you'll do that a couple times, creating that pulsing action until you find an angle that feels really good. Slightly uncomfortable, a very obvious stretch, but also something that is totally breathable. Remember that you want the inhale to inflate your rib cage, and the exhale naturally braces the lower back. Hold here for a few more moments. And as the hamstrings feel more flexible, you can always extend the left leg straight down. On days where you feel more stiff or tight, you'll want to keep the left leg bent. Now, bring both ends of the strap into your left hand, and then let the right leg cross over your body to the left. Keep your right foot flexed, or slightly roll the ankle into a sickle shape to help open up the outer shin. As you get more flexible in this part of the outer hip and thigh, you can extend the left leg straight down out of the way as the right leg crosses the body more completely. On your exhale, come up through center. Bring one end of the strap into each hand, bend your right knee, and then bring your left foot up into the loop, switching sides. So now your left leg is straight up, And the sole of your right foot is on the floor, right leg is bent, at least initially. As you exhale, pull the left leg closer, increasing the stretch. And as you inhale, let it move farther away, relieving the stretch. Do this a couple more times, feeling and investigating the sensation level through the left leg. Find a point that feels good, deep, and nourishing. And then hold there, breathing slowly, reminding the tissues that they can also soften and calm down. Take another full breath in, inflating your ribs. And as you exhale, extend the right leg all the way down so it's out of the way. Bring both straps into your right hand and extend the left leg across your body to the right. Here we're targeting the outer hip, external rotators, and some people also feel this around the IT band. It's okay if you don't feel it in those areas. There's always a benefit, even if it's subtle. Just stay with the breath practice. On your next exhale, bring the leg back up through center. Bend the knee to release the strap. And then pull both knees in, one hand around each. And then separate the knees wide, continuing to open through the inner hips and groins. This is a very gentle version of happy baby pose. Release the feet to the floor, and then roll to your side. Take a few deep breaths here before you get up to continue on with the rest of your day. Thanks for practicing. Namaste.